See that? I wonder if some of you out there know what that is. See if I can come into it a little bit more. Yep. Hewlett Packard. That's where I used to work. Broken down through the recession. When you have a recession, it impacts the world. It impacts all the families. Divorces. I've never seen these kind of ducks or swans. Not that particular colour before. It's the first time. This shirt I'm wearing, the green shirt, was deliberate. I put this on deliberately because Labour, or my constituency in Islington, or I should say Keir Starmer's Labour press, are going around circulating, if you wear green, you're like a radical or something like that. Well, you might have seen my previous podcast, I've got a green jacket. And the reason why I got that, and I keep it and I wear it all the time, is because my mum bought it for me. So I put this green shirt on deliberately because of that. Now, update on my seeking a lawyer. The update is so far for the last three weeks or more. I've been calling lawyers, trying to get representation, left, right and centre. Getting rejected, repeatedly. Until I found out why my seeking a criminal lawyer is being rejected. I can see through the floor there. I don't know whether you can, through the reflection. And what's happened is, in England, with the legal system here, is you have an internal data of which they all have access to: lawyers, courts, solicitors all across the country. It's called the Common Platform. And they feed that common platform with information. When you call to seek a lawyer, they take down your credentials, and then they contact you, let you know. And some of them, quite a lot of them, don't bother responding to you. Some of them do. And their legal staff, they tend to put at the forefront the young ones, the inexperienced staff that call themselves paralegals, but they are not registered as paralegals or qualified. They're training as paralegals. And when you put these type of face-to-face confronting type of positions to inexperienced people, you're at the forefront of contact with the customer, and the grapevine is highly dependable on these young hormonal youths working in these law firms. And I like to speak to mature people, you know. I like to speak to experienced people. I like to speak to professionals. And if you make a wrong judgment on my case or on my inquiries or anyone's inquiries, let alone me, I'm no one different to any other, or, then you put yourself in a position of not providing professionalism, and that sometimes is it's a quality that is fading away in call centres and businesses. The word professionalism is no longer what it used to be. And so, in coming back to this case, the reason why I'm presenting this, and I would like this audience that I present my quote presidential case to, I know for a fact that it includes officials, it includes Lebanon's politicians out there, or intelligences of Lebanon out there. Quite frankly, the reason why is most of the outlets, of news outlets, would know, would have come across me by following me. Most of the news outlets, CNN, Fox News, Al Jazeera, Al Arabiya, BBC, Times, Independent, you name them, all across the world, they started to follow me, whether they were the editors, the reporters, the journalists, the chiefs, the chat show hosts, all of them. Or when I say all of them, yeah, when you get a prime minister interact with someone on Twitter, right, yeah, you get that, you generate that influx of people who are interested in what the Prime Minister got to say, and therefore they start following you, yeah? So I had that high flow of followers and audience on my podcast, on my former Twitter account, and I was listed by many. I was listed by platforms and people and organisations and governmental lists deemed by official lists by governments. So when you tweet, yeah, it goes into their list, but on their lists that people follow their lists is a high follow count. So when you're tweeting out, you're multiplying your tweets in a significant manner, and getting out to everybody's timelines or people's timelines, and then your popularity of what you're saying becomes more amplified. And that is exactly how my position was when I was running the British Lebanese Twitter account, one word, and the IT Silver Spoon account, one word. That's the account that the President Michel Sleiman was following me on. So you get a high flow of this, and then here, the local constituencies here in Islington, yeah, they find out, they see that the Prime Minister made an offer that if he is in London, he would like to meet me, and he quoted it, and I got a phone call from his office in Mustaqbal head office in Beirut, and that, and so it's clear, coupled with when the President was following me, Michel Sleiman, which I too found extraordinary. How comes I was getting all this attention? How comes, like, both? Eventually, I found out there was both powers that were trying to gain my support. It was like a more of a political thing that was just using me as to get a message out, and as a result, it was evident, and it hit breaking news across the world when, on that occasion, when I did interact with the former Prime Minister Saad Hariri, and that was when the headlines came out, and I'm paraphrasing here, quote, "I will leave politics if people vote me out," because and that was a quote by Saad Hariri. Prior to that, he tweeted, that was a tweet to me on my British Lebanese account, by the way. So sometimes I don't think I provide enough clarity, but I try to express myself as straightforward and as I can. But there's so much information that I forget, and I did as I did here. And coming back to this podcast, where I now hopefully I've given you background to why I think that many people, I've got a big audience on this, and it's going up, and it's going up and up and up, and I'm seeing it, and I'm not here boasting. I'm here showing you that I believe that there is recognition in my presidential case, unquote, by the Lebanese embassy, quote that here in London. I believe that my case is bigger than what it should be. Today is a classic example of why I have debunked today in finding out a law firm who I'd contacted 3 weeks ago called Tucker's Solicitors, Tucker's law firm. And I asked them if they would take on a criminal case, Section 1271A and 3 of the of the Communications Act 2003. And in the meantime, I contacted them nearly 3 weeks ago. And in the meantime, I've been calling other firms, and each one will be rejecting me, rejecting. And finally, one of them, or let's put it in a different way. Well, finally, I found out that on this platform that the lawyers call the common platform, where all clients call, they like feed that data with information on that platform. Yeah. That case was showing as it's been taken, and legal aid was applied for on it, and nobody had told me, and nobody had contacted me, and here I am. And when law firms take your call, they look up this data. So they've been seeing that someone has taken it on, and they've applied for legal aid for it, and so they've kind of secured it for themselves. So the other law firms are looking and saying, "Oh well, someone's taken it, but they haven't contacted him to tell him," or something like that. And what I'm presenting to you here, by looking at Tucker's background, because when you have a law firm that are taking your liberty, your dignity, and in their hands, and your pleas of not guilty, you have to research them. So Tucker's is a law firm which is generally used by police stations. So there is a working relationship with a law firm and the police stations that it gets the work from. Now, what are the implications of working relationships between these duty legal aid lawyers having working relationships with the police? Yeah? And I don't need to remind you that recently it's been exposed that NICE Limited is a company that is an Israeli firm, and they have secured contracts in the British legal system, the courts, the police stations, the data, these common platforms. They have secured all these contracts and have all the data to everybody in England, and that firm has been known to have been linked to Israeli intelligence and so on, and all that. Yeah, you don't need me to continue. You can work it out by looking up declassified news. David Miller, one of the co-hosts, and what's that other geezer called, Wilkinson, who appear on Press TV, have debunked it. Although I mentioned it at least 5-6 months before that I found out that information and tweeted it on my and sent it out on my Facebook and probably Twitter. Yeah, I did at the time. So these this Tucker firm also does work with for the military, and they also somehow like have I don't know, charitable interests or something like that with governmental contracts and military law and stuff like that. And so they have retained, this Tucker firm have retained as the details on my case from all the other law firms for nearly 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 4 days, right? And stop me from getting recommendations. I have a deadline to meet with my court case, and what you are seeing is me debunking the network of rogue elements in the bar. Rogue elements in the bar. Now this is doomed. If Tuckers do my work, if I allow them to do my work, which I won't, they are doomed to make me guilty on it when I'm not. And so, I present to you, gentlemen, your excellencies, your honours, to which I have nothing but complete and utter respect to the judicial system here in England. Very impressed with the system when it's utilised properly, when it's used in a just and legal manner where no breaches of oath are clearly visual for us to debunk, us the public, us the taxpayer, us who, you members of the bar, are obligated to, complemented by King of England, King Charles of England. That's who you're obligated to. We are the taxpayer. I paid more tax than I should have in my entire life to a typical person in my category. Yeah, why is that? But I did. All this, I haven't even mentioned that I've been thrown in the mental health system. So my credibility, my human rights, the implications of being having the privileges of the legal system decrease immensely. I have no legal standing. I have to have a what they call an appropriate adult when I'm interviewed in a police station. And I'm a fucking professional who, since the credit crunch, or few years after that, have become a person who swore more than my in the last, from certainly from 2008, when I was subjected to an illegal an unlawful eviction, which was evident after, and Islington Council were found guilty to have made me homeless and therefore had to rehouse me. But then it again decided to take all my lifetime furniture that I put all on the side so that they can put on the side in storage so that they can rehouse me, and then went off and instead lied to me and auctioned it all off. So my lifetime property. King Robbo pictures when we were young on school outings. I had, yeah. Someone was interested in Sam, the school classmate of King Robbo. Someone was interested, someone in Islington was interested in his assets, yeah? I had assets as well. Assets, what are they? I had loads of things, including when I got made redundant from Hewlett Packard, I received some money, and I invested in opening up a Lebanese falafel stall in London's vibrant international market, Brick Lane. And I bought loads of equipment, and I also paid rent when I shouldn't have been paying rent. I should have been on housing benefit. but I paid rent out of that money to while I was going through eviction. Audrey Russell from Islington Council would verify that, and she was pressuring me to, and all my money went to them, and I didn't get no legal representation. They took my council flat and everything that I ever owned from childhood growing up. So you can understand that seeking accountability until now, from when it happened until now, 2012, yeah, I can't find a fucking lawyer to do a job from their heart. Yeah, what kind of legal system here doesn't become sectarian? It is. This is the legal system here. It is a sectarian legal fucking system. Yeah. I'm going through the lists of people who have lawyers and solicitor firms who have signed the anti-genocide Gaza list. Yeah, that's the list I'm going through, and I'm finding it difficult. So all these hormonal little young youths who call themselves paralegal, yeah, I don't want to be confronted by low-level, inexperienced staff, and I don't think anybody wants to. While I say that, having said that, I'm polite all the way, but if you accuse me of being abusive, or anything like that, yeah, because I've debunked you, yeah, you could call me what you like. But there's a law in this country, and if one more person starts to accuse me of falsely of being abusive, yeah, I'm going to sue them. And I'm going to follow their case through. I'm going to serve them with a writ, and I'm going to use them as an example, yeah. And one of the sections that I'm up against, yeah, is section. There's three of them. Section 127, there's 1A and 3 of the Communications Act 2003. One of them, I believe, is because I was calling the non-emergency line of the police in order to deal with my case. Because when you can't find a fucking lawyer to do a job, yeah, and I swear sometimes to express, to emphasise, because we proper Cockney speaking Londoners who lived there since we were a kid. Fucking hell, how much shit is all over the floor by these dogs. Yeah, these I lost track. I had a brain fade. I'm so stressed. But still, I've not breached any of my terms. Yeah, and I intend to keep it like that. Police have no reason to arrest me. If I touched on a subject or said something that they might want to twist to say that, oh, well, that's indirectly contacting this person, that or another, when I have absolutely no intention to, yeah, because if I do, it'd be stupid of me, yeah. But police can twist it, and that is what they done probably, slung a hook of bait so that they can put me in some kind of psyop or put me in remand to paralyze me from being able to deal with my case outside and put me in a prison cell. And I ain't gonna get no help from no one. Yeah, I've got two sisters who are influenced by their men superior, women inferior, Arab backwards minded, back in Lebanon educated slime bag brother-in-laws, yeah, and whoever they're affiliated with. One of them is affiliated to knowing or having dealings with or knowing Saeed Hariri. Let me just say that again. Prime Minister Saeed Hariri, yeah, and that family has actually met the Hariri family, the family, and so you know, I mean, even my mum, right, speaks to her old family, her family all over the world, including in Australia, and their relatives are going on giving it that apparently we're related to some big leader or some former big leader. I don't know, and I don't believe it, and I'm not here to back that. But what I am here to say is my case is presidential. It's been quoted as such by Lebanese official Ali Bannout, who, after years down the line, decided to retract that by saying, "No, I never said that." But I'd recorded him, so he can't fucking. He's only making himself look like a stupid fool by bullshitting me. Yeah, and I've had enough of him. That's why I've asked for my case to be forwarded to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I couldn't do it by the people that I wanted to, because me contacting them and me contacting Lebanese at embassy keeps falling on deaf ears here in London. And so I was forced to go on my Facebook and message in front of the public a politician, an elected politician in Lebanon, Ibrahim Moussawi, and asked him to forward my papers to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, because I wanted the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to deal with my case. Oops. Hold on. I think they're reversing. And so yeah, you have to record them, which they don't like. Just like I recorded the phone call that I got from the President's office, which I was told directly by Hazem Abdus Samad. Who is Hazem Abdus Samad? He's a diplomat. He's currently working as a diplomat in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I met him. Yeah, I met him personally. Met him at his office in the Lebanese embassy here in London, coupled with Ali Bannout, the other official. And I sat down with him, and it was Hazem Abdus Samad that said to me, the former first counsel, in the Lebanese embassy. Let's just say that again, in case you don't know who the first former counsel is. The first counsel in any embassy is number 2 to the ambassador of that country. So now you know. So, though I didn't even want to meet him, I didn't even want to talk to him, I wanted to go straight to the ambassador. I was lured to meet him and Ali Bannout instead. Oh look, they're waving, some miles away. And so now he told me, we're happy to help you. He said to me, Sam, was the president a prisoner at the time? Michel Sleiman. Was he acting as a prisoner at the time? I said, yes. He seemed to have been disturbed by that, or he certainly showed emotions to suggest it was, and he said that wasn't right, and he actually followed it up with, we'll get you compensated, we'll get you rehabilitated back to work. He mentioned that it was a nice thing to know that British Lebanese had such a prestigious job working for Hewlett Packard, as I recall. And you know what? My interaction with him was fine when I met him. It was absolutely fine. I had no problems with him whatsoever. But on one occasion where I CC'd Asma Andreos, which was the PA to the president, to the Prime Minister Said Hariri, when I DM'd them, and as far as I'm concerned, Said Hariri's promise to meet me had failed. So I wasn't happy about Asma Andreos, really. Well, after I emailed Hariri's brother Ahmed al-Hariri, Asma Andreos, Michel Sleiman, Said Hariri, and a few others, including Chris Dorsey, I believe at the time. And I used to send emails to Chris Dorsey updating him about my case, as much as he might have been bored at some point about it. I kept him up because I had to inform someone. It was him that approached me after all. It was Chris Dorsey that approached me after all about my presidential case. about my hunger strike. And so and he was keen to interview me, but I wasn't prepared to give my surname out at the time. I never wanted to make any of this public. I really didn't. I have no intention to. I tried so much to deal with this legally, but I couldn't, and it put me in a position where Hazem Abdus Samad, the former First Council, when I was sitting with him, he said to me, "But if we find, if you recorded the phone call, then we might not be able to help you." Now, when he said that to me, I'd already recorded the fucking phone call, you know, and so what can I say? What can I say? I recorded it so that I can retain, for my personal use, so that I can retain what was said, yeah, because I'm never going to be able to sit down and write all the notes that he's telling me while I'm speaking to him on the phone. So that was why I recorded it. It was for my reference to what was said, so that I don't forget anything, so that I've captured everything, and also, more importantly, for my safety. It was for my safety, because I waited about 10 to 15 minutes after I received a direct message from His Excellency, the former president of Lebanon, the latest former president of Lebanon, our Maronite leader, yeah, who I've had interactions with, and also our Sunni leader, who I've also had interactions with. See my podcast, you'll all know what I'm talking about when I speak on it. When I've spoken on them, they'll be showing you as me giving out tips, and that's how they'll be headed. But I do speak about other things on those podcasts, so they're not valid. They've got valuable information in them on this podcast and on the new YouTube account, which is Lebanese Tips, one word, Lebanese Tips, on YouTube. So much to say. So today I've debunked the legal system here in England in front of you lot. I hope you understand that denying me lawyer by taking my details off of the internal, what was it called again? The common platform, right, that the lawyers all have. So they took my details and applied for legal aid. This firm never ever told me for like nearly 3 weeks, and I'm applying for other firms, and they're all rejecting me because they're seeing that it's been taken, right? And what are they doing there? Yeah, what's been done there? What's been done? I'll tell you what's been done. Is they were stopping me from getting representation. Yeah? Stopping me from getting representation. And when the time comes, they'll represent me in the most cowboy manner, and I'll lose the case. And that's how they planned. That's how Tucker's planned. And I'm debunking them in front of you lot. I'm debunking them in front of you lot. Yeah, I'm not ashamed. I have no shame to debunk that. Yeah, and I'm a proud British Lebanese. Yeah, who's not here to change the world. But I'm going to say this again in case you lot didn't know. Yeah, I was taken to court. My family, my British Lebanese family, were taken to court by Islington Council when we were on a housing list to be removed, to be rehoused, and my mum. And some of us had medical reasons to be rehoused, and therefore we were put as medical reasons category A to be rehoused on the list for rehousing. Islington Council went and removed us from that top category after medical grounds. They had to rehouse us and lowered us down that list. Well, a lawyer called Michael Reason, fantastic lawyer, complemented with Miles Crowley, barrister, who later was a government barrister doing work for DVLA, I think it was, side of government, yeah, debunked the case. And as a result of that case, they changed the law, it set a precedence which changed the law in England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales. Yeah? England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales. We changed the law, so now all the council houses across these countries, no one is allowed to discriminate by taking you down the list from the housing list to be rehoused, yeah, for if you got medical reasons, yeah. And so this law, I'm a proud British Lebanese family to say that to my expats out there. And Islington Council are still targeting us. Islington Council are still targeting me. They've targeted my mum, they've removed asbestos from the house that she's in. And the work that they've done was cowboy work. My mum is suffering right now. She's out in Lebanon right now. I can't get out there because I've got a court case here to deal with. I could buy a ticket tomorrow. I've got my British license issued. British passport issued. There you go. Already done. I can't go out there. Why? Because they're transporting punishment. The Jewish constituency here in Islington, and let's face it, the same people who have been in power here for decades. And you only got to ask someone like me, because I've been in Islington since 1973. How many of you British Lebanese out there can say that? Yeah? How many of you out there have got that tongue that I got? I grew up with the white boys. I've hired and fired more staff than your average person in the jobs that I've had. I've helped people across the world with my Lebanese tips, raising awareness of the world's refugee crisis. Have a look at a previous podcast, by the way. I've got a couple of tips there off the top of my head. One of them is ironically called Rebel Angel, eh? And the other one is Rebel Invasion. Go look them up on my other podcast. Yeah, I've also given out tips for Copa Europe, Copa America, and also the Euro for sports tips. Check my podcasts. So I'm really pissed off because of what's happened. I've been very, very stressed. But I'm calm. I'm calm about it. And I want to make this clear to the public. Yeah, I won't do nothing stupid. Yeah. But there is, however, an impression that's being pushed into paperwork to vilify me, to present a different picture of me. Yeah, I'm a professional man. I can't fight. I can't fight. A little bit embarrassing to say that, but I can't fight. I haven't hit any women in my entire life. Any women in my entire life. And everybody who's tried to bait me in trying to get me to cause me to react, the only thing you get me to do is to kick off with my Cockney accent. Yeah. So I want to remind the public that a guy called the award-winning Pie Mash videos. Yeah. He's a Cockney-speaking Londoner. Find out about him. Yeah, look him up. Yeah, he was the one that was abused when they were young. Yeah, from politicians. Look up. He's got a YouTube out there saying that he was confronted in the high courts about his swearing, and that the judge overruled it, saying that it is his culture. It is his culture. This is his culture to talk the way he talks. and we must not. Words towards effect. Paraphrasing. We must not hold that against them. And so, this class war out there, yeah. I ain't in your class war, yeah. You can't tell me how to fucking talk, yeah. I grew up in London since I was 3.5 years old. This is my bread and butter. This is my bread and butter. Yeah. I grew up with the white boys, with the Cockney speaking Londoners. Yeah. We don't give a toss what you think of us. Yeah. I've worked with the finest stockbrokers and financial advisors in the country. And the finest stockbrokers and financial advisors who came over from America to where I was at Hewlett Packard. So the hedge fund manager, by the way, there's a tip today called hedge fund. Look it up. Yeah. It was last night about 8-1. Sort of my tracker. I've tweeted my tracker. Just look at debunking tips. One word, debunking tips on my Twitter account. It's the only one I got left. Wow. Gosh. Yeah. And so let me just flip back to my presidential case because I want to show you something here. When we won the presidential case, the case that set a precedence, I'm confusing it with my presidential case. The case that set a precedence where now all the councils, all the boroughs in England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, have changed the law because of it. That law, there was a house that they offered us, Islington Council, after that court case. My mum was paid out for it, by the way, but majority of that money went to rent arrears. And it was no fault of her own, because where we, the kids, were growing up, me and my sisters were growing up, once you're 16, you have to apply for housing benefit because after you finish work, and that never happened. And they don't educate people out in England to do that. Yeah, you have to find these things out yourselves, you know. And that was how that rent arrears accumulated. But my mum historically has been excellent with her rent. And that, anyway, that coming back to the story, there's a very important factor here because I'm about to expose some breaking shit. They offered us this house here, well, a council flat in one of these buildings here, where it was just built at the time. Yeah. It was offered to us in that block there, one of those houses there. I believe it was there, in there, right? They offered it to us. What happened? The housing needs manager at the time, her name was Cora Nichols. Remember that name? I've mentioned it before. Cora Nichols was contacted by a family called the Patel family, who lived on a flat on top of us. Their son went to my school. He's a doctor now. Their dad met Cora Nichols and bribed her with a lump sum that was a lot of money at the time when this building was erected. Bribed her with cash, £250, when this building was erected. And the flat in question was the same flat that was offered to us. My mum was in the lift and I was in the lift. I was young at the time, but I was in the lift with her and he was telling her that he got that flat. He got it, or they got it. And that's how we got that flat. And it was no longer offered to us. And this happened after we won that case that set a precedence. Cora Nichols, who's currently a senior member right now in Islington Council, and I'm providing breaking information here, and I've told you all about it in my previous social media. Cora Nichols took a cash bribe for that council house you're looking at right now, right? Whereby that very same flat was offered to us, and it was a complete coincidence that my mum was told by the Patel family that they paid Cora Nichols money and she took it, and they purchased the flat or whatever, however they got it. And so therefore, when I tell you that Islington Council seniors are targeting me repetitively, you have to understand. Yeah, I got mates who worked in Islington Council. The former payroll manager of Islington Council was one of my best friends that you can count on one hand. I got mates that currently still work there right now. Plumbers, carpenters, and the carpenters that used to work there, carpenters that have died now because of the asbestos contaminations. And while we're on the subject of contaminations, yeah, why don't you take a look at the contractor who was running all Islington Council's building services? They're called Kia Contractors. Isn't that lovely? There's 4 of them. You've got mum and dad there, one behind, one in front, to keep guard, to protect them, defending their siblings. Yeah. So Islington Council went and sold the house. Yeah. And I'm providing you with breaking information. They told us about it, directly told us about it. I went to Islington police station, I reported it to the fraud department. Did they do anything? Nah. Since every violation you could think of my tenancy has been violated by Islington Council, they sent that contractor, by the way, that contractor that I was telling you about, the contractor, Kia Contractors, their health and safety officer, I phoned him on the day that he issued a damning report about Islington Council's headlines, and I'm paraphrasing. Islington Council puts tenants in fatal asbestos danger. Yeah. And the contractor, the health and safety officer, was saying in a report, which I had to, it was hidden in the internet, though it was sent out on that day. It was hidden. There was a legal obligation for that to be made public. Kia Contractors confirmed that they were removing asbestos from council flats in Islington without wearing protective clothing, going back home, going back to work, contaminating their Islington Council workers, and then going home and contaminating their own damn families. So I reported this. And then 1.5 years later, I was walking up the street, I see one of them free newspapers, I picked it up. Front page. I'm paraphrasing. Islington Council puts tenants in fatal asbestos danger. Kia Contractors, K-I-E-R. I remind you, our Prime Minister here in England will be Mr. Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer. Do you understand? Maybe there's no correlation whatsoever, but it doesn't stop me wanting to talk as a tenant here in Islington. Yeah, as a member of my community. Yeah. Why am I all of a sudden vilified and demonised and cancelled off my MP? Yeah, why? Cancelled and banned from contacting British MP Emily Thornberry. Why? ليش يا عالم؟ ليش؟ شو هيدا؟ شو هالمنيكة؟ شو هالcorruption؟ You know, I've done 15 minutes here, like, of my time. Thought I'd come out here just to I'll give you an update about my presidential case. The fact that, and it remains my presidential case, even though it's about my finding a criminal lawyer for this charges I'm up against. Yeah. The other charges, one of them charges that I'm up against was calling the police, the non-emergency line, to find out information about cases I've had. Yeah, when I quote the word, I got a call from a president. That's why I was sent to mental health hospital. Well, that's what they told me. Certain officials, they don't like it. They disrespect you, these police officers, and they stop you from getting the information that you want to get. Yeah, and they put the phone down on you very easily. So I start to record them, and eventually I reported one of the cases. I had enough. I thought, fuck it, right. Someone was like taking the piss out of me in the 101 number you call here in England, which is a non-police emergency number. Why? Because I said I received a phone call from the President's office, Babda Palace, and I received a phone call from the Prime Minister's office, and they just like, and they can see the records there that I've been sent to a mental health hospital. They can see all that records, yeah? And they're disrespecting the facts that I'm presenting to them, yeah? And then they keep putting the phone down on me, and I call again, and so they're trying to do me for malicious communications on that, yeah? And I've even offered the 101 service, as I've offered Islington Council's repair team, a free induction course where I come over, I sit down, and I stand up and talk to all their staff on their presentation skills and how they should be conducting themselves over the phone, talking to customers, talking to clients, talking to victims who are calling the police. The disgusting service that I've received off of the 101 service. Shame on them. Shame on them. Shame on the British, sad, racists in these enforcement public sectors that we're subjected to. I've offered it to Islington Council because I keep getting them putting the phone down on me. I've got repairs outstanding. I've got asbestos in my house. When I clean my floor, when I mop my floor, right, the tiles, the asbestos tiles that have been there for over 30 fucking years since they were erected, yeah, when I wash my floor, the water is brown, same colour as the tiles itself. That brown residue is brown asbestos. Yeah, do you fucking understand why I swear? Do you understand why I've got an issue that I'm the first person in the country who debunked Kier Contractors? Yeah, sent it out on Twitter. Kier Contractors health and safety report about Islington Council putting tenants and residents in fatal asbestos danger, including their council workers. First person in the country. And remember, I had a big follow count there. I had journalists, reporters, you name them, all over the world were following me because of those front page headlines. Quote, I will leave politics if the people vote me out. Look up that quote there by Saeed Hariri. Yeah, the person that they're talking about on that article, which was an international article, was me. It was me. It was my British Lebanese Twitter account. And I was used by both of them, both powers, the western side of Lebanon and the eastern side of it. I was used. I will talk about it in another part. But coming back to it, because I had a big follow account, me tweeting all this information, well, my MP banned me by that time. My MP banned me contacting her because I was getting fucking information out before it happened, before it was breaking news. It was actually breaking news. And that article that I picked up to find out 1.5 years later that the Islington Council were allowing to remove asbestos without wearing protective gear, that article was national headlines. Yeah, national, see how angry I am. Yeah, why I express. It was not local headlines. Yeah, local newspaper Gazette. It was the whole fucking country, England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales. It was national. It was England anyway. Certainly England. I don't think it was. It was national. It was across England. And you try Googling this information now. You try Googling the A404 errors that have come up. Islington's Gazette, Islington Tribunal, all these local newspapers, all news that comes out about Islington. Yeah, remember Islington, where most prime ministers were generated from, lived in Islington. Islington, one of the country's highest Jewish populated areas. Yeah, Islington. Keir Starmer is the leader of, well, will be the leader of this country. Yeah, and Keir Contractors was the contractor that used to do the building works. Do you understand? Do you understand? Am I a cunt for telling you this? Am I a cunt for exposing this information? If I'm wrong, I'm here to apologise for what I'm wrong. But don't tell me to delete a podcast or to delete a tweet, yeah? Because I believe that history should never be wiped out. Should never be wiped out, like all those news articles about health and safety and asbestos in Islington. Right now, I've still got asbestos in my house. I ain't got much long to live. I ain't got much long to live. They Islington Council cut off my gas cooker for 9 months, saying, yeah, there's a problem with your gas cooker, it's a dangerous appliance, you need to replace it. So I get another one. They don't want to fit it in. They don't want to turn on the gas. They keep the gas off for 9 months. What does that mean in English? Let me just translate. No hot water. No heating. No fucking cooking facility. Yeah, I can't cook because I ain't got a cooker. So eventually when I do get a cooker, yeah, Islington Council doesn't want to fit it in after I call them again and again and again. And their contractor, PJ Edwards or whoever they are, this new contractor, yeah, they use their enforcements on you. Yeah, they don't provide you with reports. Eventually, it was found out after 9 months they had nothing to do with the cooker and it was a boiler that needed replacing. But I had to go out and buy food that was cooked, already made, pay more money to do it. I had to fill up a kettle in a bath. You know how many kettles you have to fucking fill up a bath with? Yeah, Islington Council failed to deal with the repairs. Do you understand why when you blow the whistle about Islington Council, do you understand? Do you fucking understand, dear people? You know I'm not swearing at you, you know I'm just expressing myself. But I have to speak from a personal capacity. I'm not here like a reporter or some kind of professional in the media or anything like malarkey. Yeah? I'm a real man bringing to you real news. My human rights have been stripped from me. I can't get representation in this country. And what happens? What happens when there's no justice? What happens? I am still compliant and I remain compliant. But I'm putting this out there saying, look, the police can arrest me anytime they like. All these podcasts that I'm presenting to you are part of my presidential case, which were before the current crime that's up against me. I'm ready to represent myself. I'm being stopped from going out to Lebanon. Anything happens to my mother, Keir Starmer is going to be personally held responsible. Yeah, Keir Starmer is responsible for my well-being, my safety, yeah, and that is dangerous for Keir Starmer to be responsible for my well-being, complemented with his racist ideologies and racist MP Emily Thornberry and her ideologies and her actions towards sending a influencer of Lebanon. An influencer of Lebanon. Who said that, influencer of Lebanon? Well, yeah, why don't you read the former blogger? See my podcast where I've debunked that and explained that categorically. Yeah. Anyone have any questions? Yeah, put them down there. I'm hated by journalists as well. I expose you journalists. Yeah, you lot comment about my country. You got people who will contest your comments. Yeah. I'm not here to side with the powers, east or west. Nah, fuck that. Fuck that. I don't join political parties. Yeah, I don't vote. I'm banned from voting in this country because we're blacklisted. Yeah, because when we have recessions where they put us all out of work, the lawmakers, the politicians, and then they let you get into debt, and you break up with your relations and your families and divorces and so on, and then you're the blame for it because you're blacklisted. You can't vote. That's it. You're out. So I can't vote. So I'm denied my human rights at the moment. I'm assuring the public that I will not do nothing stupid, contrary to what they are trying to portray. I'm a humble man seeking accountability. That's all I want. I'm not here to slander anyone. I don't give a toss if you think I'm slandering. If you think I'm slandering in how I bring out my case to you, the public, which is a request from a lawyer. It's legal advice for me to be coming on here and telling the public is legal advice. It's been legal advice given to me by a lawyer telling me that I have to inform the public about my case, and I'm doing exactly that. And I give this opportunity to both officials out there and the people who I have reached out to. Yeah, this is your opportunity. You can contact me. Contact me. Yeah, I could stop these podcasts right now if you're seeking to bring amicable accountability. Yeah, any officials in Lebanon, Hazem Abdus Samad, you have an obligation and a duty. Yeah, I will expose my case. There are journalists out there who are ready to write articles about it, and I believe you and I, they have not 1 or 2 million. They have millions on their platform. They have millions, and I put you in a position where I'm able to discuss this with you. I'm coming out to Lebanon soon, hopefully, and I'm being stopped from seeing my mum. This can't happen. Yeah, she's in a highly volatile area. Even the ambassador used those words after I already used them before him on social media. Volatile. Yeah, it's volatile. Lebanon is volatile. I need to bring back my mum. She's British Lebanese from here anyway. She's had failed operations on her belly button, 3 of them. And there are issues that I need to deal with, and this is all filling me all up with stress that I don't need. But I'm calm. I'm calm about it. Opportunity for you to resolve this. And also, it is not going to look good if I keep appearing in front of court. And I've already appeared in front of High Court and I've exposed some extraordinary revelations. So they have data about my presidential case already. Already I've named Saeed Hariri, Michel Suleiman in British courts here in London. Already. Yeah. Already I've named my hunger strike in front of the judges. Already I've named General Adel Mashmoushi of the Lebanese Internal Security Forces, who phoned me on behalf of the president after I received President Michel Suleiman, who was president at the time, after I received a direct message, a DM on Twitter from the president asking for my number, and he will call me. And that was what happened. And I was asked to go to the Lebanese embassy, and that I did. And that was when I met Hazem, former First Consul Hazem Abdus Samad, and they made promises to deal with my case. And they are obligated on the embassy protocols, and I was put in communicado and done my 17 days hunger strike. Anyway, it's not going to look good if I continue exposing to the courts and to solicitors what's happening. It's for them, for all the people involved. And I'm telling the public this because my lawyer told me to tell the public of my findings. It's not going to look good for them. Yeah? It's going to be bad for them. It's not in their best commercial interest or interest in general, from all angles of their it's not in anyone's interest, especially those that have confronted me, be them in the legal system, be them in the police, yeah, be them third party vendors. Yeah, it's not going to look good for them. I guarantee you, it won't look good for it, and it will be worse for you because there will be an article, and it will be all published out, and it will be all documented, and it will be all evidented, and it will all have references to my presidential case. Good luck today with the football. Is it today? Tomorrow, today, wherever it is. Just so much on my mind. World class presenting of the Copa America and the Euro. I think a lot of my audience have learned now, the Lebanese Tips fans and the Debunking Tip fans, that they've made a lot of money on the selections. I ask you to observe the women's qualifying, isn't it? There's women's qualifying up. Israel is there playing, I can't remember where it is, some European country, and Israel is currently 41-1, Israel women's team. So I reckon both teams to score could be a possibility. Or, now here's a little trick that you might like. If you put it in a combination with the selections I've told you, or as you're doing your bets, if you click on Israel, 41-1, it was 41-1, it might have gone down to 36-1. There's only two of them that was really high odds on that selection, and that was Andorra, and I can't remember who they were playing, Andorra women, and some other team, where Andorra was like also very big odds. But if you put that in a combination, Israel, or in first half, I think it was 7-1 first half, and put it in that big combination, somewhere along the line, there may be a window opportunity for a cash-in facility. Because if Israel women score, in football I'm talking, then that'll pump up your several folds, which will allow you to not be greedy, but take opportunity of that and cash it in. Yeah? Because they won't. I don't. Well, or the only other way I see it is if Israel and that team, they continue as a draw all the way towards the end, and then Israel scores the first goal towards the end. That 41-1 might become a legitimate thing. Observe that also with I can't remember what I was going to say that, but anyway, the ideology, the discussions of debunking and analysing the Euro and Copa America, those YouTubes that I've presented to the public, use those analysis on the women's teams. Yeah, because it's not about the competitors, is it? Now you know, it is about politics. And on that note, I bid you a good day.